If you're a dasher, you know the drill. Most days and nights, it's just you, your car, and your music, maybe a podcast. You pick up, you drop off, you move on to the next one. It's a routine. But let me tell you, every once in a while, you get an order that completely just shatters your routine. The other day, I had the weirdest deliveries, but didn't make my top five. But it got me thinking, if I had some weird deliveries, so had you. So today, we're swapping stories from other dashers and including my own and the five most bizarre and downright uncomfortable deliveries that dashers have shared, including what I've gone through as well. We're talking about everything from a customer greeting you in their birthday suit to a drop off that felt like straight out of a horror movie. And you're definitely going to want to stick around for the end because I'm sharing some critical safety tips for any driver who gets that uh-oh feeling in their gut. Gig work can be very strange, sometimes weird, but these stories, they're on a whole different level, so let's jump right in. Let's kick things off with number five. It's a story that proves that you can learn a lot about your neighbors, maybe too much. This one comes from a dasher who got a pretty standard order for a local convenience store. But the items weren't exactly chips and soda. Nope. It was for a pregnancy test and a few adult toys. So she's like, whatever, and does what she needs to do. And let's face it, delivering personal items is part of our job as dashers. But this dasher pulled up the address and she got that sinking, awkward feeling. She knew the house. She knew it very well. It was her next door neighbor. Can you just imagine the thoughts racing through her head? Do I pretend to know them? Do I crack a joke? Should I just drop the bag and run? Honestly, there's no DoorDash training manual for a drop off like this one. So, what did she do? She walked up to the door, heart pounding with embarrassment. And she did the only thing she could think of. She plopped the bag on the porch, snapped the picture, and booked it back to her car before the door could even open. Delivery was technically a success, but you have to imagine if you see this neighbor daily or at the next neighborhood barbecue, it's just a little awkward. It's a perfect example of how a simple drop off can turn into a moment of pure social anxiety. Okay, our number four slot, let's talk hotels. This one is mine. It just happened a couple of weeks ago. And I hate doing hotel deliveries because of this exact reason and what happened. And, you've got people coming and going all hours with any hotel deliveries. And then you add a DoorDash delivery to the mix, and things can get kind of weird. So the hotel was a normal hotel, one we would all recognize, name brand, easy enough. Grabbed the food, headed up to the third floor, and it said deliver to room and gave me the room number, and it was a hand it to me. I hate hand it to me's at hotels as well. Anyway, so I gave a knock, expecting someone just to grab the bag and say thanks. So the door creaked open, just like a little crack, and I waited. And then the door opened a little bit more, and a customer decided to step out, except he was wearing clothes. He was wrapped in a big, fluffy hotel comforter. And that's it. It was like he was wearing a comforter toga. He just casually looks at the food and says, sorry, and mumbles thanks, and then shuts the door. And I'm like, did that really just happen? I was completely stunned, and I ran so fast to my car, it wasn't even funny. So many questions. Why was there a comforter? Were clothes not an option? Was this kind of a weird power move? I don't know. It wasn't scary. It was so out of the blue, bizarre, uncomfortable. It just goes to show that as a DoorDash driver, you get these like tiny unfiltered glimpses into people's weird lives, and sometimes it's of a glimpse of a dude in a blanket. Our third story takes a turn for the spooky, and this one isn't just odd, it's genuinely creepy because of the date and the place. So, a dasher in the community got an order on Halloween night. Yes, they were working Halloween. And the destination wasn't a house or an apartment, local cemetery. At first, he figured that it had to be a prank, right? Who orders a delivery to a cemetery on Halloween? But the app in the order was real, and the customer even messaged him to confirm the location, saying he was a mortician working on Halloween. As the Dasher drove up, he just got the weird vibes. The whole thing was just bizarre because it was Halloween, and he had to drive down a very narrow, winding path until he came to his location of drop off. So he finally found the office where the mortician was waiting, and the handoff itself was pretty normal, but the whole experience was completely surreal and freaked him out completely. Would it have freaked you out? Because it probably would have to me. I remember one time GPS sent me through a cemetery to get to a person's address, and I thought that was weird, never along delivering to an actual cemetery. So it was honestly the perfect storm of weird, a creepy location, and a spooky holiday all combined into one, and a customer with one of the most serious jobs you can probably ever have. The runner up for the weirdest DoorDash delivery is a story that has all the awkwardness of our number 4 spot, but in a setting that makes it way more unsettling. This delivery was to a nursing home. Now, on the surface, it seems totally normal. A lot of residents and assistant livings use apps like DoorDash to get the food that they absolutely love. Nothing wrong with that. So this dasher gets to the facility, walks down a long, quiet hallway, and finds the right room. He decides to knock on the door. The door swings open right away, and standing there in her birthday suit was an elderly resident, completely naked. No comforter this time, no towel, nothing. Just an elderly person in their birthday suit waiting for the dinner. The Dasher just froze in place for a second, totally unsure of what to do. This was more than honestly just awkward. It was a really delicate situation with a very vulnerable person. He kept his cool, handed over the food as quickly and respectfully as he could, and wished them a very good night, and ran out of there. The whole thing left him feeling pretty shaken up. It's a wild reminder of the unpredictable human moments that you can really walk into on this job. So, the number one weirdest and honestly creepy delivery story comes back to my delivery. This was a couple years ago. This was the kind of thing that kind of makes you think twice about accepting any kind of order from DoorDash again, but I'm still here years later. It started out just like any other delivery to a house, but when I pulled up, I immediately felt like, I don't know, I got that creepy vibe. You ever do that pulling up to a house? Well, no wonder why I got that vibe. Always trust your instincts. But every single window of the house was filled with dolls looking outside. Their little glass eyes were just staring out the windows onto the street. It was like, honestly, like a scene from a horror movie. She was never heard from ever again, and it wasn't even Halloween. It was the middle of the summer. So to make it even creepier, the instructions on here was, please leave food inside the house and the door. I'm like, oh, heck no, that is not going to happen. I am not entering. I never, any DoorDash driver, please never enter someone's house. So my gut was screaming. This was like such a bad delivery, such a bad idea. I messaged the customer and politely said that for their own safety, my own safety, I could not deliver inside their house and that I would be leaving it on their porch. The customer decided to insist and got more demanding that I keep coming in and delivering it inside. I'm like, yeah, no, it's still not going to happen. So what do? I go to where I was supposed to go in the door, and there was a stepway and a porch. Guess where I left the food? On a porch full of skulls. So not only was the house full of dolls looking out the window, their porch was full of skulls. Yeah. Honestly, this was before SafeDash. This was before you could report customers and get them removed from your account. That's how long ago this was. I wish I would have reported them to DoorDash. I did not. It wasn't such a thing back then. But today, if that ever happened, I would have never done the delivery. Man, times have changed. But if you ever feel yourself in a very uncomfortable situation, your safety is always more important than any delivery out there. These stories go from uncomfy to funny to genuinely scary. That last one really shows why every single Dasher needs to know what to do when a delivery feels completely wrong. Your safety, like I said before, is always more important than an order. So if you're a driver, listen up to this next segment. First, and this is the most important rule, trust your gut. If the situation feels off or unsafe, it probably is. You are always allowed to refuse a delivery or leave an order at a safe spot, like I did, even though I left it with skulls, like a lit porch, instead of doing any risky hands-off. Never, ever go into a customer's home, even if you feel weird about it. Stick to the visible public areas. Don't go around to back doors or anywhere that you can't be seen from a street. Always use the app to communicate. It creates a paper trail of your conversation. So also DoorDash has a record of it. Cover your CYA. That's what I'm going to say. If you have to say no to something like coming inside, you can explain it politely, but be firm right there in the chat. Your car is your safe place. Lock it every time you go out, even for a second, and lock it if you are inside the car as well. Park as close as you can to the delivery and try to get under a street light, especially if you're delivering at night. And please take your keys with you and don't leave your car running. Also, use the tech that you have. DoorDash has the safety features like SafeDash, which lets you connect with an ADT agent or an emergency button. Get to know how these tools work before you need them. It's also a great idea to share your live location with a friend or a family, especially if you're working at night. A lot of drivers also swear by dash cams. I have one for extra safety. When in doubt, always partner with support. I can't tell you it is your biggest offense, or I could even say defense, in situations like these. If you ever have to cancel an order and you actually have the food physically, you're going to need to call support in order to partner with them so they can cancel the order, especially if you feel unsafe or uncomfortable delivering. That way, it doesn't affect any of your ratings, including your completion rate. And it also protects yourself from contract violations or even deactivations. That's the most important thing. Your safety is 10 times more important than any delivery you make on DoorDash. Finally, I'm going to say this. Be prepared. Keep your phone charged at all times. Maybe carry a power bank. I always have one in my car at all times. Don't carry any cash if you can. If you do, carry very minimal amount of cash. And if a customer is ever inappropriate, makes weird comments, or exposes themselves, you never know, keep it short, keep your distance, and report them to DoorDash support right away. I know we hate contacting support, but when it comes to these big things, including what keeps you safe as a dasher, those are the times that you need them. Gig work is full of surprises. DoorDash is full of surprises. While most deliveries are totally normal, these are literally one offs. It is the weird ones that stick with you, even mine, after all these years. The biggest takeaway from all these stories is you have to look out for yourself first and foremost. So, what's the weirdest, strangest thing that has ever happened to you on a delivery or on any other gig app? Drop your story in the comments below. I love to read them. And if you liked these stories and found the tips helpful, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe for more DoorDash information. If customers ever make you feel unsafe, scared, you suspect them of theft because they reported something incorrectly, I'm going to show you how to remove customers so you never get them again. You're going to want to check this video out next, and I'll see you over there.